This is a two-part series where we're going to walk you through the configuration of monitoring for DataPower appliances and the API gateway. The first video is going to focus on infrastructure monitoring. Let's do a quick overview. First, it's important to know that there's something called the API gateway that is part of API Connect. Essentially, it's a subset of the DataPower appliance in terms of capabilities. The API gateway is included in DataPower. So either way, it is supported and we can monitor the API gateway and we can monitor the transactions through that API gateway. When it comes to DataPower, there's three different form factors. There's the cloud-native OpenShift-based Cloud Pak for integration. There are physical servers and there are virtual appliances. The physical servers, virtual appliances, the configuration will be identical. For the cloud-native, there are small differences and we'll walk through those. Now, it's important to understand that API Connect has other capabilities besides the API gateway, and those are well documented within the Instana docs. This particular video is not going to cover those. In terms of monitoring, there's two different types of monitoring. One is the infrastructure monitoring, where we're monitoring the key performance indicators for the appliance itself. And then we also have the ability to track transactions that go through DataPower and the API gateway. Let's take a look at what that provides. You're looking at the infrastructure view within Instana. I can see my DataPower appliance. I can open up a dashboard. And here you could see general performance data about the appliance itself, CPU utilization, memory utilization, file system space, networking related information. Most importantly, you've got the domains where the application workloads are running. I'm going to click on the production domain. And here you can see the various services that are running in that. So in this case, this is a multi-protocol gateway. This also could be web service proxies, etc. I'm going to click on that, and this is my application workload. So I can understand things like the average transaction time, transaction rates that are going through that particular gateway. So you can see we've got a general summary of the DataPower appliance performance as well as the application workloads that are running through the appliance. In terms of infrastructure monitoring, there are a couple things you've got to do on DataPower. You have to first enable statistics, and you can follow that link, and I'll show that to you in a minute. And then you also have to enable the REST management interface. Again, there's a URL, but I'll show you what the steps look like. There's additional information in the Instana documentation around configuration of what's called the DataPower sensor. You can see below there's a sample configuration, but it's as simple as updating the configuration.yaml file within Instana, adding in the information about the appliance, right? What's the host name or IP address of the appliance, giving it the port number, provide a username and password. The password can be stored in a vault, but in this example you see below, it's just in the YAML itself. And then if you want, give it a cluster name, and that's how it shows up within Instana. Very important, the port number is the REST management interface. There are some monitoring tools that use the XML management interface. You can specify multiple DataPower appliances, so you can see where it's got instances. We've got the first instance in this case is DataPower 1. We could add another section with DataPower 2, 3, 4, 5, and remotely monitor many different DataPower appliances. Let's now walk through that configuration. First, we're going to edit the configuration.yaml file. You can see the default path. Within that file, we're just going to search for DataPower. And we're going to edit this section. All we have to do is uncomment it. Those parameters are required. If I want multiple instances, I would do a second instance. The instance name is either the host name or the IP address of the system. And then you're going to put in the port number. The default is 5554. Provide a username and password, give it an optional cluster name, and then do the same thing for the second remotely monitored DataPower appliance. So in summary, you've seen the value of Instana's monitoring for DataPower, and you've seen how to configure that monitoring. Watch part 2 in this series to learn about transaction tracing through DataPower.